and welcome to another teacher talk session tonight. Tonight we are going to have another educator from Turkey, and tonight we are going to have education coordinator, School of Foreign Languages from 9 Eylül University, Murat Ata. When he comes, we are going to have our live session with him, and we are looking forward to listening to him. I'm sure that it's going to be a very fruitful session with him. Let me invite him, then we can start. I'm waiting for him. When he comes, we are going to start. Yes, I have invited him. Let me invite him one more time. Yes, I have invited him again to join the session. Yes, I have accepted Murat Hocam. One more time. There he is. Yes, finally.
Oh, we got it. Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
So,
Okay,
let me
welcome.
fix my mobile phone.
Okay, waiting for you, Murat Hocam.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is it
done, I
okay?
think. Yes, perfect.
All right.
Wonderful. Okay, welcome to Teacher Talks, Murat Hocam. It's great to see you, and it's great
Thank
honor to
you.
have you. And I would like to say thank you one more time to accept my invitation for Teacher Talks. We are really happy to have you here.
Uh, I would like to take you in person, Volkan Hocam, just because it's a real privilege to be guested here. And I do appreciate what you have been doing for such a long
Thank you.
period of time, because each week it's not such an easy job to be done. Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
all motivations and all applause are on you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And tonight we are going to have our 115 session with you, Murat Hocam. And if you are ready, we can start.
Sure, sure, go ahead.
All right then. So I know about you, Murat Hocam, but maybe our listeners or audiences would like to know about you. So can you tell us about yourself, please, and a bit about your experiences?
Sure, I can. Currently, I am employed at 9 Eylül University as an English instructor. I've been teaching English for about 17 years, I guess. Personally, I have done my PhD and I have graduated from 9 Eylül University for my undergraduate program and for my PhD program, so that I can be counted as a member of 9 Eylül family.
Yeah.
This is all I can tell you. Currently, I'm just at a position who is responsible for educational affairs in our School of Foreign Languages. Currently, we're just collaboratively working with kind of 27 other teachers, instructors, with whom we have been trying to sustain the quality and the maintenance of the education at our school. This is what I'm doing at the moment.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much, Murat Hocam. And by the way, Nafi Hocam also is here, and he's saying, "Hi, gentlemen."
Mhm.
You both look
Hi,
fabulous.
Nafi
Thank you.
Hocam. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Okay, so let's move to another question. What was or were your turning point or points in your own education, Murat Hocam?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it kind of little bit emotional, just because our country just suffered a very big severe earthquake, and I was also the guy who suffered earthquake at high school, because
Oh,
I was in the Marmara region. I remember those days, and they were really tough and challenging times. Well, I'm not gonna exaggerate it, but that was the moment that my father just showed me a piece of gold, which was taken from my mom's neck.
I
and to be
See.
exchanged for money and to invest on my education. You know, mom
Oh.
was kind of a little, really important figure in my life, and I was a kind of, I don't know how to say prospective students, but I wasn't well programmed. And I remember that day that I was kind of like, I felt myself really overwhelmed because that something belonged to my mother was taken for my education. That was something serious for me. That was the day I decided to have a better educational career and to work and to study hard and to be a kind of ambitious student. And in 1 year,
Uh-huh.
despite the earthquake, I was able to do that. I'm quite
I
happy.
see. I
Hmm.
see. So now we are here, and thank you very much for sharing your moment
Yeah,
with
yeah.
us, Murat Hocam.
It's a
It's
really
really,
sorrowful
really sad
and
situation.
meaningful moment for me. Yeah, yeah.
I
You're
see.
right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. And so, by the way, I know that you have been teaching for almost 17 years. You just mentioned, as you just
Mhm.
mentioned it. I'm sure that you have tried different methodologies and maybe applied different strategies in your lessons. So, and probably you have a kind of a philosophy of teaching. So, what is
Sure.
it? What is your philosophy of teaching?
Yeah, my philosophy of teaching, to be honest, I have mentioned about my teaching experience, but this doesn't count that how old I am. Just I don't want to reveal it. It
You
should
look
be
really young. Don't
concealed well.
worry.
Yeah, I'm kidding. The philosophy of teaching and for teachers, and they need to be patient. My philosophy is this: good teachers or best teachers, they never teach. They make the learning feasible.
Hmm.
They open the doors for the students. They create such an atmosphere in which students can feel themselves ready to learn it. Do not teach, just make the learning feasible. This is what I do in my
I see.
classes.
Hmm.
Mhm. It's
I
really
see.
important. Mhm.
Important point. Thank you. Thank you very much, Murat Hocam.
My pleasure.
And let me ask you another question, which is related about the teaching. So we are English teachers, and I'm sure that you kind of an idea about the teaching English. So as an English teacher, how do you define teaching English?
Well, it's a really nice question. Teaching English is just like growing up a baby.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I call it. Because from the very beginning, the moment that you get into English until the last moment that you're going to breathe and die, it's a kind of long-term learning process. Despite the fact that our students keep asking us, Hocam, when can I learn English totally? It's quite impossible. But the thing is this, teaching English is just like knitting or sewing a pullover. It is like
Uh-huh.
needle by needle, piece
I
by
see.
piece. You have to be patient, you have to be determined, and you have to be analytical to understand what's going on in
Uh-huh.
this language.
I
And these
see.
are really important. And when my students ask me, Volkan hocam, I want to learn English, I just tell them in return, are you sure? Because it's not something like 3 or 4 years experience. It's going to be a whole life. Are you ready to handle it? It's really important.
Exactly. It's a long process. It's not like just a short term something. It's really long. It takes
Mhm.
really time.
Actually, we
And we wish
shouldn't
for
confine it
uh-huh.
to just learning English, Volkan hocam. It's just learning a language is really painful. You
Mm-hmm.
should be resilient, you should be determined, and you should be, motivated to do that.
Exactly. I totally agree with you, Murat Hocam. Thank you. Thank you, Hocam. And Murat Hocam, I know that you are teaching in a prep school, if I'm not wrong,
Sure.
in 9 Eylül University. And there are lots of students over there in prep classes. And what do you suggest, or what are your suggestions for students who study in prep classes?
You know what, Volkan hocam, at the beginning of each year, whenever we start the new year, students are kind of a little bit enthusiastic
Uh-huh.
about learning language, and they're fresh. I tell them some basic principles, such as I strongly advise them to have a notebook in which all the units, all the new vocabularies and the grammar units are recovered and written and used in a sentence. This is really important, and they need to have a grammar book. If you ask me, they need to have a vocabulary book. They need to have a kind of a daily spoken language book or notebook to have them to be written on them,
I,
and they need
I
to be
see.
programmed. I can guarantee that at our school, if a student is able to just separate or share his 1 or 2 hours apart from rather than the class hours during a day, they can accumulate on it quite a lot. I mean, they
Yeah,
can, increase their capacity to learn English. And we, as teacher, we can see this development when compared to the beginning and the end of the year via the test and also personally inside the classroom.
I
It's a
see.
kind of, process, and they need to develop some skills like critical thinking skills that we're going to mention them later, I guess. These are really important, and they shouldn't be afraid of just learning the language. It is something like maths, and they can handle it. They can, solve it. They can
Yeah.
unpuzzle it. This is something like this.
I understand. It's very good suggestions for the,
Thank
especially the
you.
preps to students. So they
Sure.
need it. When they come to the prep classes, sometimes they have no idea what's gonna happen or what they will see, what's going on in the lessons, what they should do. And these are good suggestions for them. Thank you. Thank you very much, Murat Hocam. And I'm gonna ask you about some kind of education program of many in 9 Eylül University prep classes. What makes different 9 Eylül University prep classes language education than other universities language education?
Well, I can say, just thanks to the some kind of, meetings with other universities, like the Oxford University Press just arranged a while ago, we just had the chance or have the chance of just, just negotiating with our colleagues to see their educational concerns. But for me, for my school, I can say that I once was a student at my prep class like maybe 20 years ago. Now I'm a teacher there, but I can tell you that the staff or the teachers' quality is really high, and they are really well experienced. And
Uh-huh.
for the good sides of or the sides that I can say our school is strong, such as the testing office, material office, and the coordinating office are really well experienced, and they know how to handle the problem. Every year new problems come up just because of the new regulations. We know how to put on it, how to adjust or modify it according to the new the materials and the new changes. I think we are in terms of testing mostly we are really good at because it's a
hmm
really experienced stuff, I
I
can
see.
say. Mhm.
Okay,
Also,
thank you very much.
there is
hmm
one more point that I would like to
Of
mention.
course, of
For
course.
a couple of years, we are just paying a lot of attention to the communicative sides of, language. Just we set up some, I don't know how to say it, kind of triangle for communication in which students are actively involved, and
Uh-huh.
we just organize an election and where the chairman for the students is selected, and there is a representative for each classes and for each level, and there is a
Oh,
school chairman for all students, and we know how to deal with them. If we would like to do the double check in terms of announcements, exams, and what's going on
I
in our
see.
school,
Uh-huh.
socially, environmentally, or in terms of education. And this is really important, and it works a lot.
Definitely. It's very good. And it's very interesting point you
And,
mentioned, Murat Hocam. Thank you.
and also, Volkan Hocam, students feel themselves actively involved in teaching. This is really important for them.
That's really important. Uh-huh.
Sometimes feel themselves kind of a decision point or decision maker. At least they are the one that are asked something for. This is really important for them.
Definitely. Definitely,
Mhm.
Murat Hocam. Thank you. By the way, Murat Hocam, if I'm not wrong, I saw a question. Just a
Mhm.
moment. Here is from Dr. Tamar Dalitze.
Mhm.
She's asking, what is the procedure of enrolling student in prep classes? How do you select them, or how do you choose in prep classes?
Well, actually, Volkan Hocam, just we teachers kind of need a few weeks to get aware for our classes, and each teacher selects a class representative. Then we have a meeting with them at the beginning of the term. We tell them all the regulations related to our schools, and also we tell them that we're going to make an selection for level representative, then for school representative. And we ask them to give petition and to give their resume, CV, so that we can see what kind of facilities or qualities they have. I mean,
Uh-huh.
what are their, the features, and then we just take them into interviews. with our teachers, a group of teachers, and we just decide on them, and there remains kind of, maybe 3 or 4 candidates. Then among them, we try to select the proper candidates who is eligible for representing our school during a whole year.
I see. Okay, thank you very much, Murat Hocam. And there is another question, and which LMS do you use at DEU and DEU, and are you still running hybrid classes or hybrid classes? Sorry.
What was the first question, Volkan Hocam? Which elements?
Which learning management system do you use at 9 Eylül University? She's
Learning
asking.
management. We use Oxford Learning Management System. If it is Oxford.
Yeah, I think that's the question she's asking. And another question is, are you still running the hybrid classes?
Yeah, not literally, but just the absenteeism is kept free by the YÖK. That's why students do not prefer coming in classes in person. We have quite a few students, to be honest, but mostly online. Just because of the regulations that are beyond us.
I see. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Murat Hocam, for your answers. Okay, so let me ask you another questions about it. And I'm sure that you have attended many sessions, or the provided training sessions to the teachers or more. And when you think about them, so what was or were the most interesting situation or situations that you faced?
Well, Volkan Hocam, I would like to mention an experience of mine that was kind of little bit stressful. I was invited to give a kind of training for a group of people, but I was pre-informed that the group would consist of like 18 people. But when I got into the class and I figured out that there are 87 people in the whole conference, then I was kind of a little bit shocked, but I need to make a quick decision. Then I was planning to give them some worksheets, and it was about multicultural issues. Then I just switched into plan B. Actually, there was nothing on plan B. Then I just wanted to, just created some group works, and I was able to, just overcome it. But that was really stressful for me.
I see. That was really shocked, mind you. Okay,
Yeah.
but you change your plan directly into another, from individual to a group over there.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's a
I
quick
hope
decision.
nobody noticed it. I hope nobody noticed it.
Great. Thank you, Murat Hocam. Let me ask you another question. I know we all know as an English teacher, having routines are really important in language classes. So what are the benefits of having routines in language classes? And can you give us some example of your routines in your classes if you have?
I do. The very first moment that I get to the classroom, I always everybody individual questions. I would like to ask them something and to get them kind of motivated and warmed up to the lesson. I keep asking everybody, person by person and student by student, so that they feel themselves kind of motivated. And I was trying to just warm the atmosphere up and getting into the zone, just making some jokes or those kind of things. But this is what I. Another routine of mine that I can tell you, I always do group works in my classes whenever I find the chance. Then I try to, select the members of the groups from different people in each time, so that this classroom, get harmonized and students get to know each other. This is really useful at the beginning of the term. And this is also useful, there are sometimes, a real speakers of English, they speak very well, and there are some reserved students too. We need to, just harmonize them, kind of, keep the balance between them. This is really useful.
I see. Thank you very much, Murat Hocam. Thank you. So, another question. Are you okay? How's it going? I hope you are not bored. Are you enjoying it?
Are you asking me or the participants?
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you, Hocam.
I'm just having a lot of fun. Thank you, Volkan Hocam.
Okay, wonderful. So let's move to another question. We all know that 21st century skills are really important for our students, and most of the time we are trying to teach these skills to them. So why do we have to teach 21st century skills in the classroom or for the students, and how successful we are about it. Do you think are we really successful about it?
Well, it depends on Volkan Hocam which skills you're targeting at. For example, in terms of critical thinking skills, the one that I pay a lot of attention, it's really important just because as a country, this is our problem, not to critically, think about everything. We don't like it, but
Nice
the new
point.
materials, the course books are designed to promote critical thinking for the students. And this is really important. And also, what remains to teacher is just to apply the suggestions of the book, and so that students get involved. For example, what I do, I always, if there's a reading passage, I always ask the students to change the endings of the reading and what might have happened if something had happened in that way, so that this creates them to think in a kind of different and active way. They get involved in it. Another thing, unfortunately, we may regard our students or 21st century, children or Generation Z as a kind of techno-friendly, but actually they are not. Their
Uh-huh.
technology aptitude depends on playing games or maybe social media, rather than that
Exactly.
technological literacy is really low among
Uh-huh.
students. Despite they live in a kind of technology age, this is really low. So what we need to do just to create some technological literacy, creative thinking, and critical thinking, and creativity is really important. And collaboration matters a lot. They need to just work together to
Mm-hmm.
create some, piece and nice works. And this is all I can tell you for now.
About it. I see. Thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
very much, Murat Hocam.
Mhm.
Really, it's really how can I say? It's really satisfying answer for us. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. And
By
let
the
me
way,
ask you another.
sorry, pardon me. I can see some, comments from Tamar
Yeah,
Hocam,
yeah. Tamar Hocam
Thank you
is
very
she's
much.
saying that's very very effective strategy, dear Murat. She's saying, and by the way, it's really nice to see her here in our
Mhm.
sessions. And I had also one session with Dr.
Mhm.
Tamar Dolitsa that was also
Yeah,
really,
that was nice.
really
That was
fruitful.
nice.
Yes.
And also, she
Uh,
had a webinar at our school that was really useful.
really? Wow.
Yeah,
You're lucky. I'm sure you're lucky
sure,
about it.
sure. Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move for her. And let's do another
Mhm.
question. And we all know that, and hear the term of ChatGPT, as you know it.
Yeah.
It's really, really big thing for all of us. So, what do you think about ChatGPT and the effects on language learning?
Yeah, that's a really nice question, because whenever I hear the word ChatGPT, I feel myself kind of a little bit on the edges, It's something like you don't know where to go. But what I can tell in brief, and if you use technology for the goodness of the students and for the goodness of language learning, it works a lot. But if you use ChatGPT to just keep yourself away from the hardshipness of doing homework and to find the easy way, this is not something useful. But what I can tell you for ChatGPT, I know that I use it a lot with my one of my colleagues, and if you order ChatGPT, if you give them a kind of video, if you ask them to prepare some comprehension question and some derivational questions and some specific questions, and it works a lot in that way. If you use it that way, that works a lot. But if you want to get benefit from it, if you want to abuse it, it doesn't work. I
I
mean, just
see.
asking ChatGPT to write your essay is not something to be done. But if you
Mm-hmm.
try to get some ideas from ChatGPT to ease the process of learning, it is useful in that case. But
I
still
see.
debatable, Volkan Hocam. It is still debatable.
I see. I understand. Thank you. Thank you, Murat
Mhm.
Hocam, about it. So let's move to another question. Thank you.
Sure.
It's about the teachers now. So what are the most important assets a teacher must consider when teaching a foreign language?
This is really important. But what I do a lot of attention is the individual differences, Volkan Hocam.
Mm-hmm.
The individual differences of the learners. Unfortunately, in Turkey, just because of the overpopulation of the students, we are unable to do that. Just because we need to create and we need to understand their individual differences, so that For each group, we need to create some objectives to teach them the language in the way that we're planning it to be have. This is really important. But some students learn a kind of kinesthetic, others learn via visual learning,
Mm-hmm.
and some students might be feel reserved, and some might have some other problems, and these are really important. But for a teacher, so we shouldn't think that okay, or we cannot teach in that way just because we don't have the chance to have each individuals in each group. So in your class, if you have a kind of multiple individual different people, that there is no doubt, it is
I
certain.
see.
So you can
Uh-huh.
adjust the way how you teach accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And you can adjust the materials so that these materials can meet the needs of the each group. This is really important. But what I can tell individual differences is that one of the most important things that the teachers should pay attention to while teaching.
I see. Thank you very much, Murat Hocam.
My
Thank you.
pleasure.
And Hocam, it's we all know that there are lots of new teachers, and sometimes, not sometimes, but when they go into the classes, I'm sure that sometimes they really face lots of difficult times to motivate their students, especially for learning a new language, because learning a new language is not kind of a easy thing, because it's like we are pushing them, or we are trying to teach them something they never know anything about it. That's really hard. Sometimes we face difficulties, as I said, like motivate them. So what do you suggest especially for the new teachers, to motivate their students for learning a new language?
Uh, this is a really nice question. Welcome, Ajam. One of the current topic in our field is the new language teachers. Just because these teachers belong to the new generation, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when I will give you an anecdote of mine that I was teaching at English language teaching department kind of 3 or 4 years ago, then I figured out that unfortunately not every student was there to be an English teacher. This is really important. When I compare these situations with the one that I had like 20 years ago, it was completely different. And all the students in my classroom, my classmates were interested in teaching English. It's a kind of dedicated job.
Uh-huh.
And if somebody is not dedicated, and just it's a kind of devotion, and you should devote yourself to teach English or to be a teacher, because being a teacher does not bring you maybe the amount of money that you expected to have, but it would bring you definitely the pleasure and enthusiasm that you have
Yes.
never experienced in your life. And they should be patient, they should be determined, and they should be open to learning, and they should be resilient. This is really important. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and also they should just keep the balance between themselves and the students. Just because of the age gap, it's too narrow when compared to, and students might abuse it. This is really important.
Definitely. I
Mhm.
agree. Thank you very much, Murat Hocam. Thank you. Let's move. By the way, time's really fly, and just a couple
Yeah,
questions
it's
left,
flying. Yeah, really,
Okay.
it's flying.
Yeah. So let me ask you another question. This is something really different. I'm really wondering what are you going to say about it. If you if you could have one superpower to use in the classroom, Murat Hocam, what would it be, and how would it help you?
Yeah, I really would like to be the source of motivation and patience for my students, just because new generation
Uh-huh.
does not show enough patience and motivation, because they take everything for granted, unfortunately, just because of us, we families, we just give them this chance. And I really would like to give them kind of motivational energy to load them so that they can be eager to learn, and they can be patient to learn, and they should know how to overcome their difficulties when they face. I really would like to have this power, just because I know motivating student is not an easy job, but there is something that we shouldn't miss, that self motivation is really important. So
Uh-huh.
I really would like to load them with energy. This is really important, if you ask
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this nice and useful superpower. Uh, Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move
My
to
pleasure.
another question. So, think that we finish our interview and you go outside and
Mhm.
find a lottery ticket, end up with a $10 million, what would you
Oh,
do?
$10 million. I will wait for the next day because it's going to be more than $10 million. Then I exchange it into Turkish lira. I'm just kidding, by the way.
Nice.
Well, course, and what I would do definitely, I would just have a kind of bottle of wine, I guess, so that celebrate it. Then I would consume most of it for students who are in need, for my niece and maybe for my future kids for their education.
Uh-huh.
But I would definitely visit around the world.
Thank you. Thank you very
Mhm.
much. It's
My
very
pleasure.
interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
I hope we can find it in the future.
Yeah, in the future, why not? Why not? Why
Why
not?
not? Okay. So, and it is almost the end of the questions, and here is the
Mhm.
last question, Murat Hocam, the session. Are you ready
Sure.
for it? It's the
Yeah.
the most difficult one. Here is it. What is your motto?
Oh, that's really interesting. Never cease to learn. Don't teach, make learning feasible.
I see. Can we get it again?
Yeah, never cease to learn. I mean, teaching is a kind of lifelong learning, you know. Do not stop, halt learning, and do not teach, please. Make learning feasible, doable, easy for
I
students.
see. Okay. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you very much, Murat Hocam. That's
Yes,
all my
my pleasure.
questions, Murat Hocam, on my side. And we have
And from
I
my side.
asked all my questions. And so before ending our live sessions, would you like to add anything else?
Yeah, I would like to add, I'm a kind of middle-aged guy, but I'm still learning a language. Learning a language is really important. It's something like just diving into a new world
Uh-huh.
and trying to see, the differences between languages and trying to understand their universal principles. It's really important, but it's quite painful, I know. We kind of Turkish people as a nation, we are impatient a little bit. We would like to find the easiest shortcut and to get the most of the benefit, but it doesn't work in that way. We have spent our years and most of our lifetime. I'm still learning, and I know we are still learning while teaching Volkan Hocam.
Exactly.
That's why we are doing this job. It's not something like you can finish and you go on with teaching. But I can tell students that they should be patient, they should be determined, because 1 year studying at prep class is really a long period of time, and it's quite sufficient for them to enable themselves to learn a language. If they show resilience, if they show kind of patience and maintenance, if they can sustain it, they are able to do that.
I
Just
see.
they need time and patience. This is all I
Okay.
can tell.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Murat Hocam.
My
And
pleasure.
Tamar Hoca is making any comment. So you think that
Yeah.
teaching general English and ESP must be based on the same methodology? She's telling.
Teaching general English and ESP must be based on the same methodology. Yeah, as an, I mean, at the beginning on the ground, they may just based on the same methodology, but then later when you get into teaching them, an ESP is something different. But in order to teach ESP, you need to get, kind of help from the teaching general English methodology, because it's a kind of way of teaching English, but it's not general, it's more specific. So some more specific and some, different and distinctive methodologies are needed to teach ESP. This is really important to take this into consideration.
I see. Thank you.
Cannot, grow the same seeds on the same grounds. And when you move into somewhere, the climate is different, and the ground and the farm is different. So you need to apply different methods and methodologies to grow it, to raise it.
hmm Thank you. Thank you very much, Murat Hocam.
My pleasure.
Okay,
My pleasure.
so I would like to say one more time, thank you very much, Murat Hocam, for
Mhm.
joining the Teacher Talk session and sharing your ideas, suggestions, and advice to all of us.
Mhm.
And especially the most important thing, you spend your time with us. That was really nice of you. Thank you very much. And Murat Ata was with us from 9 Eylül University, and we had a really fruitful session with him. And we are going to be here next week on the same day at the same time. As you know, that Teacher Talks time and time on Monday, every Monday at 9 p.m. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of yourself, Murat Hocam, and wherever you are, take care of yourself one more time, and bye bye everybody, and
Thank
peace.
you. Thank you
Thank you very
very
much
much.
for
It was
being
my
with
pleasure.
us.
See you
See
around.
you.
Bye bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Thank you.